Hello. Did you have a good lunch? Yes, it looked very good, but unfortunately I had lunch just before I came here, so I needed to pass it, but it looks very good. So hi, I'm Cristina Andersson, and well, actually I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm running 3 companies, or I'm involved in 3 companies right now, but also I'm a consultant, and one of my main tasks is to promote the Finnish Hyteairo program. How many of you have heard about Hyteairo? Some of you, yes. Hey, great. Hyteairo is the Finnish national program for artificial intelligence and robotics in healthcare and well-being. And with this program, and it's by the Ministry of Social Affairs and Health. And with the help of this program, we want to bring these technologies into healthcare and also social services in a sustainable way and in a way that promotes inclusion and that promotes dignity and independent living at homes. But I will be talking more about that program a little bit later. But first, what I want to say, I have written down these questions. I have been traveling around a little bit and meeting people who work in the healthcare system in Finland. And I have found 2 main questions or problems or challenges what people bring up to me when I have been interviewing them. So first of all, almost everybody says that in spite of all criticism, all IT systems work, well, fairly well in healthcare. There is many things to develop, and with data and with sharing of data and all this, there are still challenges, but well, it's okay. And then they say also, but the digital services that would actually put the data in action to help people to benefit from this data, that lags behind. And that is something that we need to work a lot with. The second thing is a paradox. And the people say, and I have been also talking with the management in different health districts, and they say that there is a need to downsize because we all lack resources, and this downsizing has been happening, as you know, lately in Finland also in healthcare and social sector. And it's going to go on. And at the same time, there is a huge need for personnel, nurses, doctors, etc., you name it. And how are we going to solve this paradox? I think it's, when I start to think about it, it sounds like, impossible. So let's see if we can find a solution here in 20 minutes. And if we do so, please hire me as a consultant. Smart workflow is one of the solutions, I think, and my mission also is that we need to use technologies such as automation, robotics, and artificial intelligence so that we can free people's hands to take care of people, not to take care of machines or logistics. So here you can see the name of the program if you haven't found it. So you are all welcome to join us. There is a Facebook group called Hyteairo. You are welcome to join. And also, if you just Google Hyteairo, you will find lots of material. But here, let's talk about digital services. The Hyteairo program consists of 4 areas. One is rehabilitation and wellness coaching. The second one is hospitals and logistics inside hospitals and other institutions. The third one is medication, drug management. And the fourth is care at homes. And the care at homes is also the spear point of this program because there is a legislation in Finland that everybody should be taken care of at home as long as possible. And of course, this is the most challenging one. Of course, in hospital, we have all the equipment and also in the elderly care homes to take care of people, but not at homes, not so much. And this is a challenge that we need to solve. I was listening to a speaker from America last summer. There was Silver Economy Forum in Finlandia House, and he said that the most dangerous place for a person, for an ill person, is a hospital. And he said that we need to get people out from hospitals. And they have been already given chemotherapies at homes. So this is kind of the trend. Healthcare is moving into homes. But let's look at this. There you can see there is a robot for rehabilitation. And there are some 5 these kind of robots in Finland. Every year, about 15,000 Finns, or people living in Finland, suffer from some kind of brain stroke. I'm an educationalist, so I don't have any healthcare expertise, but there are studies of this. So they have some kind of stroke, and they need rehabilitation. They cannot walk, they cannot, well, do much after the stroke. And there is a very nice story of a lady who after a car accident, lost her ability to move. And she went worse and worse and worse and worse. And finally, she was put in a patient room in a healthcare center in Tampere. And she went even worse, because the 2 other people living in the same room were suffering from dementia. So she had kind of nothing. So her husband said, and contacted the Laitila Terveyskoti, the place where they have this kind of robot, and said, can you help my wife, please? And this Laitila, they said that we don't know, but we would be so happy to try. And so they did. And the first picture of this lady was that she was moved into a supported care house. And she was kind of walking with a nurse already. And the next photograph was that she was walking stairs at home, upstairs at her own home. And this is something, it's a huge tragedy for a person and her family. But think about national economics. How much would it cost to have this lady until she dies in that patient room? Millions. So if this kind of robot costs 500,000, so it's nothing. It's nothing. It's paid with one person's rehabilitations only. I don't know why there is not very much enthusiasm to get these, but there should be in every single municipality in Finland, at least one. In Helsinki, maybe 5, because we need this. Oftentimes when I have been talking about artificial intelligence in companies and other places, so they say that when artificial intelligence or robot came into our organization, so the work organized, well, by itself in a new way. There is very little for us to understand how will the workflows look when a robot or an artificially intelligent system comes in. But we need to be prepared that it will cause changes. Before that robot, there were 3 physiotherapists working with one patient. And one of these physiotherapists showed how it goes. So they are kneeling there, and one is moving legs, and the one is keeping up here, and one is doing something else. Now there is only the robot and one physiotherapist. So the work is organized in a different way. What are those 2 physiotherapists doing? Maybe they are doing rehabilitation at homes. And with the help of a light robot, you can do this machine-assisted rehabilitation at homes also. And that is so important. So that is one part. So the next part is drug management. Did you know that only 23% of those people who suffer from leukemia, I think, is a very serious disease. Only 23% of those people take their medicine in right time, even though it is crucial that they take it on the right time. But it's human. We are watching Emmerdale or Where the Heart Is, And with, oh no, I should have taken my medicine and I didn't take it. But we can help this too. And there is, well, actually I can make a little bit advertisement here, a Finnish-made robot, Evondos. Who has heard about Evondos? Yes, some of you, great. That delivers the drug at the right time. And this also frees hands. It doesn't mean that we need less caretakers, less nurses for home care. No, absolutely not. But what it does, for example, because there are rush hours in Helsinki, for example, in Helsinki and everywhere between 8 and 9, when they should take their first medicines. But now they don't have to rush to these places during the rush hours, but move it a little bit further on the day, during the day, and also maybe have that time to, maybe for more quality time than just come in and push the drugs in and go out. Maybe have time to eat together. There was a study in Sweden that of those home care patients who needed help in eating, so feeding, so to speak, they suffer from, how do you say, aliravitsemus? Sorry, I forgot the name. Was undernutrition, because the time for eating is about 4 to 6 minutes. And that is impossible for an older person. It's impossible for me too. Well, I'm an older person, but anyway. So this we can help very much with digital services, robotics, and also with intelligent planning. Then there is a hospital part. There is a doctor. You all know that there is a lot of robotic surgeries. So these surgeries are made you can make a surgery from distance. And it of course means that so when you have a serious surgery coming up, you can get the best service because you can get that best brain surgeon from South Africa or wherever to do this surgery in Helsinki, for example. But I don't know if you knew, who of you are a nurse? Any nurses here? Yes, great. There was a study made in Finland that from nurses and also doctors' working time, but nurses, 60 to 80% of their working time goes into IT work either or logistics. So they are taking the laundry somewhere or the laboratory pipeline somewhere else or medicine or whatever, and they should be taking care of people. And that's why they educated themselves. Many of them in academic education. And this is something that I was also within research made by Eva, where it was said that 20% of this time could be freed already now if there was the will to invest. But this is an investment that pays back very quickly. There is a hospital in Vienna where 90 robots are taking care of 98% of all logistics, what the nurses used to do. So now they can do something that is far more important than pushing these trolleys. Then there is this guy who is really sad. I have been studying loneliness for a while. And loneliness is a huge problem that causes mental disease, heart disease, blood pressure, among others. It is so serious problem that in England there is Theresa May placed the Minister for Loneliness. But other also mental diseases. And there is, for example, there is a telephone for young people in Finland where they can call whatever causes them anxiety or anything. And there are all the time thousands of young people just queuing to get to talk with somebody. Here we could also, and we are using here in Finland, in Helsinki University Hospital, there is something that is called the mental house, I think, mielenterveystalo, where they are using these electric services for also mental patients. So you can call if you have something in your mind. But here we can really help. I think that many diseases stem from the place where people feel lonely, they feel anxiety, they get mental problems, and they are totally alone with that problem. And if we had these kind of chatbots that can really discuss, that can really help. And I have a story. And this was already 2012 in Sweden. They were experimenting with a robot called Hobbit. And this Hobbit was a very ugly robot, very clumsy robot. It was big and ugly and everything, but they were testing it with elderly people. And it could, remind of the medicine, so it could say, take your medicine, time to take your medicine, maybe something like this. It could give you a glass of water if there was water inside, but not put the water there. But it was a little bit social. You could a little bit talk with it. It was very simple. 2012, everything was in the beginning. So you could say, for example, could you please read Aftonbladet? I would like to hear about the prime minister or whatever. And it could open the page and read some text. And afterwards, they asked the elderly people, what do you think? How did you find this robot? And Ella, 89 years old, said, now I don't have to sit here alone thinking about death when I have this robot. So there is something to talk to. It never replaces people, never. But if there is nothing, it's better than nothing. So try yourself to be alone and talk to the wall. It never replies. A robot can say something. And nowadays, chatbots, they have become much better so that they can really have a small conversation with you, especially if you're an English-speaking person. So we don't need only data. We don't need only artificial intelligence. We need change management, because this is a huge change. Don't just wait for everything to organize by itself. Do something, be prepared. Maybe you cannot see everything foresee everything, but please, be prepared. And this is a mission for all. We need to have this data into action. It doesn't do anything. Data doesn't do anything. Artificial intelligence doesn't do anything. We people, we must put it into action. With people and with robots, with digital services. This is the solution. And here is a slide. I have ended my presentation since 2013. So it's quite old, I'm sorry, but anyway. So I think that really robots and artificial intelligence, they should create wealth for us. Because they just work. They don't mind the hours, not what task it is, they just work. And our job is to create value so that there is something valuable what the robots can work on. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Cristina. Thank you so much for your expertise and some insights. I would like to borrow you for a minute or so to ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
So regarding the digital service in the Nordic countries, how does that work if you compare it to Europe or even Asia?
Yes. Yeah, so Nordic countries, as we all know, we are the leaders in digitalization and digital services. But when we talk about putting these digital things, data and such into action so that people can really, really benefit from that. So I think we are lacking behind. For example, in South Korea or China or even Japan or USA, they are doing a lot. I don't know if Denmark is a European country, but if we count Denmark as a European country, so there is a fantastic place in Denmark, which if you have the opportunity to visit Odense, please do, because they have solutions. Here in Finland, we say, okay, we are trying here maybe to experiment with a toilet that can wash from downside, or a robot that can feed somebody, but they're actually doing it already. And having people use them. And this is what we need. This is the attitude, not to wait for everything. And we are very good in piloting here in Finland. So we test and test and test and test. And after testing is over, so everything ends. And no one benefited from that. The benefit comes from when the service meets the one who really needs it. The elderly person, the sick one, you name it.
That's a good answer. And the last one, just a short answer. What is the main solution, do you think, is regarding caring of elderly people? What do you think is the main solution?
The main solution is that people care more about each other, so that if you have elderly people that are waiting for your visit, please do go. If we don't care about the elderly people, it is our choice. We can't blame anything. We cannot blame the government. We cannot blame anyone. But then take also the robots to help and the digital services, sensors and such. Because no one can be there for anyone 24 hours a day. And that time when the person is alone. I have a mother. I visit her many times, but there are many hours she is alone. And, she's using Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and she's a part of every group in Facebook and so on. So she can pass her time. But there are many who has nothing. So let's find a solution to, elderly people and those who help need. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cristina Andersson. A big warm applause for Cristina Andersson.